Well, good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on News Hub here at Desawe Kanda. Also live on Twitter and on Facebook. Of some 13 persons arrested by the police for allegedly attacking a court. We're live in that particular area, Tamale, this evening. We shall also get into the matters of the Judicial Service Staff Association, who are raising concerns about the chief's position. Stay with us. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, has threatened to sue the Electoral Commission over the limited voter registration exercise, which is slated to take place between September 12 and sometime in October. The Director of Legal Affairs of the NDC, Edwin Eduji Tamaklo, is on the show tonight. As always, we're very, very interactive here on Ghana Tonight. Let's hear from you. The hashtag that we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and Twitter. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The New Patriotic Party says it will conduct a full-scale investigation into the alleged assault of some polling agents during the Special Delegates Conference. The election committee of the party held a marathon meeting with some candidates who contested the election.
A lot of people are not happy with the Northeast issue. I think the Nalerugu issue is the only region that something did not go well. And I think there's going to be further investigation to basically ascertain.
Disciplinary measures will be put in place, investigations will be conducted, and if somebody is found to be culpable, discipline will be meted out accordingly.
They had an opportunity to give us a full report of what happened. We are going to meet some other members again on Thursday. We also had an opportunity to meet with one of the aspirants who made certain statements, which statement went viral.
Flag-bearer hopeful of the New Patriotic Party, Alan Trematin, has broken his silence on the attack on his agents in last Saturday's Special Delegates Conference. He noted that such incidents will not be tolerated in future.
What happened to my colleague on Saturday was an act of total indiscipline and indecent behavior. How do we, as a decent party, going into an election, particularly at the level of superdelegates, superintend such behavior? I mean, look, we all joined the NPP because of our commitment to the values of the party. But what is happening clearly shows that this is not what we bargained for.
Former NPP Northern Regional Chairman Chief Bugre Nabu on Monday validated the content of a leaked audio tape at the center of a plot to oust the IGP, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare. At a parliamentary committee sitting on Monday, Chief Bugre Nabu confirmed that he assigned persons to record the conversation.
I cannot keep everything they were talking to me at that point. It was very, very good to record them so that I know the president. If I tell him something, he will follow up with the truth. Next time he will not give me respect. You know him and I know him. So the best thing was to ensure that when I tell him, he asked me, "Are you sure?"
President Akufo-Addo has warned maritime rating organizations to be cautious of inaccurate reportage as it can impact the nation's global trade participation. He acknowledges their contributions to international shipping but clarifies that petty theft incidents cannot be equated with piracy in the context of international maritime law definition. He was speaking at the opening of the 3rd International Maritime Defense Exhibition and Conference at Bema Camp in Accra.
Government will continue with its naval infrastructure construction policy to improve the Navy's maritime response time. Government will continue supporting the Maritime Authority, Ports and Harbors Authority, the fisheries sector, the various institutions in the oil and gas sector, and the entire maritime industry with policies, equipment, training, and resources as part of maritime security capacity building.
Traditional authorities in Tamale have condemned the use of live ammunition to disperse a crowd following a misunderstanding between the police and the youth. They are demanding the immediate release of 13 arrested individuals and seized motorbikes. Briefing the media after a crunch meeting, spokesperson for the chiefs, Alhaji Abdul Latif Shahana, described the actions by the police as unprofessional.
The police besieged the Bukonas Palace using water cannons and live ammunition, firing into the palace. Actually, personally, that annoyed me and angered me so much because it is the palace that is our place of refuge. If you are being chased by anybody, you run to the palace, then you are safe. But for the police to come and attack the Bukonas Palace is something that we didn't understand.
Well, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, the new Patriotic Party begins investigations into complaints of infractions about the just ended Superdelegates Conference as the party prepares for a runoff for the two candidates to battle it out for that fifth position. Now, we're going to be hearing from Alan Chamanting shortly, spoken for the first time after this Superdelegates Conference over the weekend. He's broken his silence on this matter, the attack on his agent, condemning the act and asking that that should never happen again, going into the November 4 election proper. Take a look.
What happened to my colleague on Saturday was an act of total indiscipline and indecent behavior. How do we, as a decent party, going into an election, particularly at the level of superdelegates, superintend such behavior? I mean, look, we all joined the NPP because of our commitment to the values of the party. But what is happening clearly shows that this is not what we bargained for by joining the party. I'm not going to tolerate this kind of behavior. It doesn't make sense.
That's Alan Chamanting there. But let's hear from the man who was assaulted, the Northeast agent of Alan Chamanting. He's also been speaking about his ordeal. And guess what? We're getting to know that this was meted out to him by executives of the NPP in the Northeast region. Take a look.
Third person was the regional youth organizer. He voted and displayed his vote. So I confronted him and told him, my brother, that is not the way, the rule of the game. We are told that no one should use a phone to snap when you vote. Secondly, we have been told that no one should vote and display his vote. Oh, when I said he picked a plus chair and hit me, so I blocked him this way. So it hit my hand. The Nasra coordinator also rushed and hit me. So I saw that I was bleeding from my elbow. So when that happened, it was my MP, MP for Chirapone, Honorable Razak Tairo. He came to rescue me.
Ali Zakaria, that's his name, the agent of Alan Chamanting, who suffered this rather unfortunate incident over the weekend in the Northeast region. Now, his picture, when the incident happened on Saturday, went viral. Now, as we go on, I'm going to put that on the screen shortly. But Richard Nyama is a spokesperson for Alan Chamanting, is joining me on Zoom. Richard Nyama, thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. So, we have seen pictures and videos of Ali Zakaria's injury. But I understand you were there in the Northeast region, the specific polling center where this incident happened. What's the extent of the injury we are talking about to his eye, which is almost, in fact, which is closed now?
Very much, Alfred. I was there at the grounds where he was beaten up. We had to first and foremost take him to the Naleru Regional Hospital for emergency care. That was stitching of the eyes. The top part of the eye, the eyelid, this part of it was burst, and then towards the eyebrows too got burst, and they had to stitch those two places. The eye itself got so swollen and was shut, very bloody. So he was oozing blood from the eye and those two places that were burst. And then after the stitching, they gave him medication to ease the pain. But they are not an eye specialist. So I had to bring him to Tamale. In Tamale, the hospital took him in for on admission that same night, Saturday night. And then Sunday and Monday, he was discharged yesterday. But the condition was still that bad. The eye was still shut. He couldn't open it.
Right.
So I had him come to Accra. And this afternoon, we had an appointment with Agawal Hospital. I think they are about the best eye hospital in Ghana or in Accra at least. And so we went in. They did the various tests. They did some scans, and in the end, the doctor gave us the diagnosis is that the pupil has shifted from its position, and then the eye is so bloody. There's a lot of blood in the eyes, but we're lucky that it didn't burst. None of the uh, uh, veins there got burst. So that is the lucky part. It's just on the eye itself. So they've given some medication that should, in some good time, clear the eye. And he's praying. The doctor was saying that he hopes that the people will go back into his position with time. But the bloody aspect will probably clear in a couple of weeks or something. So he can't see through that right eye. And then, fortunately, the back part of it, which could have been more dangerous, was intact. And so the swelling too has been given medication for the swelling, but has to come back at any time that he's feeling dizzy, severe headaches, or if the eye becomes like the pain becomes unbearable for him, we'll have to bring him back. If not, the medication he's been given, we should go back for further checkups in the week or two.
I see. But, Mr. Yama, this is serious to say the least. The perpetrators of this act on your agent, are they known? And who are they?
Yes, he named the regional youth organizer and the Nasara coordinator, regional Nasara coordinator of the Northeast region. They are the ones he can immediately remember assaulting him. The youth organizer started with a chair and hit him. So you would see on his hand, there's a swelling out of he trying to protect himself. And then the Nasser coordinator is supposed to have hit him with an object on the eye, and that's what resulted in the damage that was caused.
Well, and just for those who just joined us, I mean, as we go on, we'll show you the pictures of this injury that we're talking about and the videos that earlier surfaced. But the police, have you reported this matter to the police? And if you have, Have they done anything about this? As in, for instance, inviting these two persons you're talking about, the regional youth organizer of the MPP in the Northeast region, and then the regional Nasara coordinator of the MPP in the same Northeast region, who you're saying perpetrated this act? Have they invited them?
Absolutely not. In actual fact, Alfred, when the incident happened, I first and foremost sought the view of the regional police commander, who was in the hall when the event happened. There were more than 20 policemen in the assembly hall when that happened. Not a single one of them intervened. And that makes them accomplices, because for somebody to be assaulted to that extent and you had all those number of policemen and nobody was interested, something must have been going on for them not to intervene. His countenance or lack of it gave me the impression that he actually was acquiescing to what was going on, because he was like, my guy caused it. Why was he snatching the ballot paper from the person? Now somebody is breaking the law and he is stopping him from doing it, and then you are accusing him of that. So, and then when I asked him to assist us to do a report, he was like, his focus right now was on the elections. So right there and then I realized that no, this is not somebody that was prepared to entertain us. And at the tail end, when I myself felt I was in danger because the agents refused to sign, and I took responsibility for they not signing. They tried assaulting them, and I said then they have to come through me. The threats increased, and I tried telling the commander that, look, I will need police protection and escort out of here. He told me that his focus was on the ballot box. So I remember actually calling Anohinin to inform the IGP that this is what his commander, regional commander, has told me, and that if anything happens to me or any of my colleagues, his commander himself will be held responsible. And that's where I left it. So after that, our focus was to get them out of the place. You had to de-escalate and leave the scenery. So I brought Ali Zakaria, then Munkaila, and Ganiu, who is Kennedy's agent, from that place to Tamale. Then our guy was on admission before I moved up. So
wow.
We haven't officially gone for a police report because, or reported it to the police, because the police themselves didn't seem ready to entertain the matter, and the environment wasn't safe for us to do so. So we left the scene altogether, the region.
But so the police and their actions, they don't encourage you, say, on that day to even report this case. But how about the party as well? Because the people you've mentioned as the perpetrators of this unfortunate incident on your agent are party executives in the Northeast region. Has the party leadership reached out to you and also given an indication of inviting these persons?
The party doesn't seem to care. They haven't even bothered to sympathize with Ali Zakaria or Alan or the team. They haven't reached out to anybody. We've seen them call out people and call them to the disciplinary committee for things they have seen on social media or other media platforms. And somehow they seem to have missed this, which was the most important event of the day, because everyone saw the pictures of what happened. It was widely reported, including your good self and your media house. Somehow up to now, the party doesn't seem to be interested, and they are not reaching out to find out what happened and even console the gentleman and find out how he's doing. So that tells you that the party itself has a line is towing. Once it's Alan, they couldn't be bothered. If it was someone else, they probably would.
But so going into November 4, especially because this has happened, what measures or takeaways are you as a unit, the campaign team of Alan, taking away from this going into November 4? Because that's a crucial election for you as well.
Talked about vigilante. I would have my security guard. I will have my own security on the day. If the party wants us to believe in the security systems they put in place, they themselves have to show leadership. They don't gang up against one candidate or the other candidates in favor of somebody and you expect us to sit down with our hands at our back. It's not going to happen. It ain't going to happen. Not anymore.
Richard, thank you very much for your time. But then again, you see, quickly, because if you're talking about not having faith in the party, then what next? Because if you're talking about personal security, you might also be crossing the line of the law, is it not?
Number one, the police have indicated they cannot be trusted. That's one. The EC were definitely part of it because the EC officer, when he was told about it, decided to go and stand by the ballot box as a way of stopping it from happening. It happened right in front of him. The youth organizer voted and showed his ballot to the next person and was going to drop it in the box where the EC officer was standing. The EC officer didn't stop him. He should have canceled that ballot as a lesson to the subsequent persons that will not tolerate it. But he stood there and he put it there, and that is where our agent was preventing him from putting the box and brought about all this. But if the EC and the police had intervened, we would not have this matter. And so we now feel that, look, there's a gang up, including the EC, the police, and the establishment against Alan. And so going forward, it's a very good lesson. We are lucky to have had this bitter lesson early on. Okay. Subsequently.
Right. Richard, thank you very much for your time here on Ghana Tonight. Richard Jama is spokesperson for Alan Kojo Chemantain there, giving details of what happened to the agent and what they intend to do next, and awaiting the party's official, as it were, reaching out to them to find out what's going on. But let's stay with the MPP. Coming up next, Kennedy Ejapong, for him, he did not stay silent on that day. See him right there, not too happy about an incident that involved also his agent in that specific region as well. And that comment of a showdown between him and the president and the vice president is what was an interest to the party, in fact, the election committee of the party, then also the leadership of the MPP. Earlier today, we're going to show you videos when he went to the party's headquarters to meet the leadership of the party. They had already given indication that they were looking into this comment that he made. They had written officially to his campaign team, inviting them, that's a disciplinary committee of the MPP, inviting him together with a few others to come and meet the committee. Take a look at what happened earlier today. But let me just show you some details of the persons who were to meet the committee as the NPP communicated earlier today in a statement because of some of the infractions that occurred on that particular day. We have the names. We're going to put that on the screen shortly, and then also getting to exactly what happened earlier today with Kennedy Ejapong. We do know that this was after that incident, the comments that he made. These are the persons, take a look, that the party captured in their statement to appear before the disciplinary committee. And Raphael, Patrick Safo, Charles, Dochi Yao Ado. This is, and then also Musa Sulemana, Hobson Adoye, pursuant to Article 10.7.5 of the NPP Constitution. These individuals will have been referred to the party's disciplinary committee. Also, the specific case of Kennedy Ejapong. This is what the statement said, and reason why he was at the party headquarters earlier today. going to put that on the screen right now, the specific case of Kennedy Japan. Emphasis must also be placed on the fact that Honorable Kennedy Ohene Japan, pursuant to the aforestated constitutional provisions of the party, will also be summoned before the disciplinary committee of the party to provide responses. And this is where Professor Kobe Mensah is joining us on Zoom for a quick conversation on this. Beyond what happened with Kennedy Japan and the matters arising now that is meeting the disciplinary committee, did he, Professor Kobe Mensah, who is a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Prof, thank you so much for joining us. Did Kennedy Japan's showing coming second surprise you? I mean, beyond these issues of the disciplinary issues that the party is also looking at as we speak, and especially because of the fact that even the concerns that he raised about have been also corroborated by the likes of Kojo Poku and Alan Kojo Chemanting as well. Hello? Professor Kobe Mensah, can you hear me? We'll rectify that connection with Professor Kobe Mensah shortly. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School and then also political marketing strategist on Kennedy Japan and matters arising earlier today and matters arising. Professor Kobe Mensah, yes, you were answering the question before I lost you briefly earlier.
I think that, yes, Kennedy's moving to second position was a little bit surprised, but not that much, especially given the idea that the election has been heavily influenced by resources. Of course, Kennedy is a very grassroots person, but we all know when it comes to his, gravitas in terms of resources. And so it wasn't that surprising. But of course, I actually expected Alan to be second. But of course, given the nature of the competition and the kind of things that we've been hearing from the grapevine, and I think that it actually squares up really, why Kennedy would be second. But I think that, in general, I think I expected, the kind of competition that actually came out. Because as I said, the superdelegate election has been very heavily influenced by expectations and resources. As you know, majority of the the players in terms of the delegates, superdelegates, are either people who are actually, fighting competition in November. And so most of them are actually hedging. There are quite a number of government appointees. There are quite a number of, other kind of voters who, in one way or the other, are actually at the very prominent levels. And such people would be influenced by, some kind of expectation, some kind of resources. So in one way or the other, yes, I was a little bit surprised. But when you look deep into the, situation, it shouldn't actually be surprising, yes.
See, and apologies to our viewers earlier. Professor Kobe Mensah is, I understand, outside of the country, and so that connection was a bit cranky. But Prof, while you reposition yourself for me, now the concerns have been raised, not just by Kennedy Japan, but as we've just heard from Alan Kojo Chemanting as well, expectations of the party ahead of November 4. On the side of the party, but for the candidates as well, will the 10 weeks ahead of us before November 4 be enough for them to do something dramatic to turn around their fortunes? Those who are coming behind Dr. Bawumia in the just ended Superdelegates Congress.
From the data that we have, it actually shows a picture that it says the more deeper you go into the delegates, i.e. getting into the polling station, the more you see a very diverse and a very, kind of a tighter support for the other candidate. We knew from the beginning, from the data that we collected, that from the national perspective, you have quite a number of people hedging towards the vice president for a simple reason. If you look at the parliamentarians, a lot of them have a battle to fight in November. That means that they need resources. That means that they do not expect a very competitive, posture. Now, if you demonstrate a certain like and a certain support base for any candidate other than, the vice president, then it means that you're likely to face a very hefty competition. They will raise competition against you. They raise resources against you. And so we're expecting people to hedge, towards the vice president. And so we were not actually expecting them to sort of back any other candidate, other than the vice president. So that was normal. But then when you get into deeper into the delegates, i.e. get into the polling station, where the resources are not actually getting down, they were quite, pushing towards other candidates, especially towards Alan Shermanton. So in my calculation, getting to November, it is most likely to find, the broader part of the delegates moving towards Alan Shermanton. But of course, it depends on the game plan of, the vice president. If he's able to sort of do what he did in the super delegate, then of course, it depends on the strength of the support for Alan. If those people are very strong in terms of their support base, they may not move. But if they're not as strong as we expect them, then perhaps they could be influenced by resources. And so for me, it depends on the work of Alan to actually tell them that, look, the bigger picture is about winning 2024. And if you look at the candidates that is stronger in challenging NDC based on the data that we've collected, then of course it would be Alan Shermanton, but not Bawumia. So that depends, as I said, on the message that Alan actually carries on to them. And then of course the intervention of Bawumia's camp. If they could do what they did in the super delegate, then that could change the whole picture. But of course, it also depends whether people want to vote based on their conviction or based on the influence of resources.
Very interesting there. Professor Kobi-Mensah, thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. He is a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, a political marketing strategist. Apologies for the connection earlier with the Zoom. He's out of the country, and that explains why it's daytime where he is. But you're still live here on Ghana Tonight. But coming up next, the NDC has threatened to sue the Electoral Commission over the limited voter registration. The Director of Legal Affairs of the NDC, Edwin Eduji Tamaklo, is on the show tonight. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this quick break here on Ghana Tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Hey, Ojam, you're looking good, oh my friend. Is there something you're not telling me?
Yes, I'm feeling very good and strong.
What is the secret?
It is not a secret. My farmer used Yara Miller Activa on me 2 weeks after planting. This boosted my growth. Then after, he used Yara Bella Sulfan as top dressing when I was at knee length. My goodness and strength is because of Yara Miller Activa and Yara Bella Sulfan. Yara fertilizers have nitrite-based fertilizers that are readily available for plant upkeep and do not over-acidify the soil. Yara fertilizers also contain micronutrients such as zinc, boron and manganese, which aid in yield and crop quality. If you want to look good like me, then your farmer must go for Yara fertilizers. They are available in accredited agri-input shops nationwide. For more information, call 0308-251-060 or visit our webpage at yara.com.gh or Facebook page. And there is more. Yara retailers can also benefit from selling Yara products by just downloading Yara Connect app and scanning QR codes on the Yara sack at the point of sale to earn rewards. Use Yara fertilizers for better yield and quality produce.
This Saturday on Fisheries Eye at 6:55 p.m. on TV3, unveil the harsh realities faced by vulnerable girls in Keji, a tranquil fishing community nestled within the Keta municipality of the Volta region. Cases of teenage pregnancy have shed light on a deeply concerning issue: how financial struggles drive young lives to the edge. Fisheries Eye brings to our viewers the harrowing experiences of marginalized voices in our fishing communities where dreams meet challenges. This and every Friday and Saturday at 6:55 p.m. only on TV3. Fisheries Eye is funded by the USAID from the American people.
The age-old rivalry that senior high schools engage in is still present within alumni. The battle for bragging rights to a particular endeavor remains even after school. If your school can cook, it means your school is here. If your school can boast of good culinary masterminds, this right here is the perfect platform to showcase that skill set. Alumni have met, and they have chosen representatives to take up the task of preparing extraordinary dishes to bring victory to their respective schools.
Tell me what you're cooking.
Week in, week out, these schools will mount these workstations in a bid to buy your nutritional affinity to them. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare your taste buds and fasten your aprons. These culinary experts are set to battle for the enviable crown of being tagged Lords of the Kitchen. This is Kitchen Wars Season 2.
Kitchen Wars Season 2, Sundays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix
and Napa Foods. Say Napa, Enye Ono Soko.
Welcome back to Ghana Tonight. The opposition NDC has issued a warning to the Electoral Commission not to conduct its pending voters registration exercise at its district offices. The party is saying, should the EC fail to adhere to the advice, it will take legal action against it. But first, let's hear from the EC Chair, Jane Adokoy-Mensah, on this.
The DLE will be conducted in all 6,272 electoral areas, in all districts, with the exception of Nkranza North and Nkranza South in the Bono East region. The DLE for the two districts was not held in 2019 for security reasons. As such, the elections would not be held in both districts until 2025. As a commission, we encourage voters to take advantage of the voters' registration exercise and register to vote. We also entreat the citizenry to participate actively. Article 45A mandates the Electoral Commission to compile the register of voters at such periods that may be determined by law. It is in the discharge of this mandate and as part of the Commission's preparations towards the conduct of the 2023 district-level elections that the Commission will undertake a voters' registration exercise. The exercise will be held between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. each day, including Saturdays and Sundays. Each district office will serve as a registration center. The Commission has not undertaken a voters' registration exercise since the last one in 2020. This means that we are seeking to add to our register some 1,350,000 persons. Therefore, we do not believe that upholding LI 2111 and enforcing the use of the Ghana card to prove a person's citizenship will lead to disenfranchising citizens, as is being alleged by sections of our society. As a commission, we find it unfortunate that our efforts to strengthen the credibility and integrity of our voters' register, and by extension, our elections, by the introduction of the draft CI, did not receive the support of
Godwin Ejuje Tamaklo is NDC's Director of Legal Affairs, is private legal practitioner as well. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Why are you asking the Electoral Commission to, quote, not to conduct the pending voters registration exercise at its district offices?
Quite clearly, any decision to conduct the limited registration exercise, which is constitutionally sanctioned, would amount to what is called voter suppression. And usually voter suppression, even though backed by law, is a strategy deliberately to disenfranchise some people. And the suppression is usually done in such a way that it limits, it places impediments, makes it extremely difficult for would-be registrants to unveil themselves to the process of registration. And it is clear that this particular electoral commission is bent on doing exactly just that. And it is extremely unfortunate. It does not portend well for the current democratic experience, and we should not encourage it. Listen, this is an electoral commission that in 2020 could deploy electoral materials to secondary schools in the midst of COVID. And that's about 200, almost 500 secondary schools nationwide in order to register them. The Electoral Commission in 2020 got the Special Budget Committee of Parliament to approve for itself over $74 million in order to purchase registration kits. As we speak, those kits are barely 3 years old. What it means is that they are in good condition to be deployed beyond the district offices of the Electoral Commission for the purposes of registering will be voters. And so one begins to ask, what exactly is the motivation for this particular Electoral Commission to place further impediments in the way of registrable persons? We didn't do registration in 2021. We didn't do limited registration in 2022, even this year. And from the estimates, we are expecting about 2.4 million young people to be registered to vote. So you don't know why the EC is doing that. In any case, the Constitution says any attempt by the Electoral Commission to register should be one that should expand the register and not, as it were, to place further impediment. That is constitutionally provided for. So why is it that this Electoral Commission, every step that it has taken is one to limit the number of persons to be registered?
But you see, the EC chair, what I just played, is saying that they will embark on this voter registration exercise in all 268 district offices of the commission. And that's what they have communicated that they are going to do.
You see, the Electoral Commission and its chairperson must appreciate that they are not laws unto themselves. They are not laws unto themselves. In fact, the electoral commission chairperson is supposed to be providing a service. It's supposed to be serving the people of this country. It is not the other way around. So you cannot, in fact, it's much of arrogance, impunity from the electoral commission chairperson to say, once I have said it, that is what I will do. To hell with you. It cannot be. It cannot be to hell with us. It cannot be to hell with us. Because we are not even asking for any, we are not asking for much. All we are saying is that, look, there are about 1,500 electoral areas in this country. Allow the process to happen in this electoral area. Alfred, there are 36,000 polling stations across the length and breadth of this country. We have not demanded of the Electoral Commission to register people in 36,000 polling stations. No. And Alfred, let me give you a classic example.
All right.
You know the Shah Osudoku constituency, correct? Look, that constituency stretches from Dodowa into Doyomo. Imagine someone having to transport himself from Doyomo, all the surrounding villages, and the person needs to come to only Dodowa in order to be registered to vote. What is this? Look at a constituency like Lower Mana. It stretches into Akuse. You are asking people to move from Akuse. Look at a place like North Top. North Top constituency is made up of places like Mefe, Bato, Togome, Fojoku. All these areas, the distance. If you go to a constituency like Nkwanta South, the district capital is Nkwanta. You're having to move people from Brewemiase 47 kilometers to the district capital Nkwanta. And who does this? Look at a constituency like Bole Bamboy. Bole is supposed to be the capital. The distance from Bamboy to Bole is about 130 kilometers. 130 kilometers.
But
and you are saying that those people do not matter. They don't matter.
Well, Mr. Uncle, the AC has scheduled the exercise to take place as the commissioner just indicated in that voice, the video I just played, that between September 12th, which is just about some 2 weeks away from now, to October 2. That's the day communicated. So what's the alternative? What's the NDC going to do if the EC does not amend its position as you are asking?
No, the NDC as a political party has all the legitimate tools available, and the options we have are many, but not limited to the court action. Because you see, Alfred, this is the only democracy that we have.
True.
Look, if you are taking a strategy that potentially can suppress the ability of 2.4 million young people to partake in our democratic process, what you are doing is to bottle out their ability to partake in the decision-making processes of this country. And that is certainly unfortunate and should not be encouraged.
I see. But has this position been officially communicated to the Electoral Commission that you do not agree with what they have communicated they're going to do?
In fact, the political parties, with the exception of the NPP that appears comfortable with the posturing of Jane Mensah, all the others have taken steps to register their protest, and in fact have encouraged the Electoral Commission that you have the kits already. These are kits that you bought with $74 million. So it shouldn't be difficult at all in deploying them in the over 1,500 electoral areas of this country. And that will greatly, greatly, greatly help.
Thank you. Eduji Tamaklo is private legal practitioner, is the Director of Legal Affairs of the NDC there. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, traditional authorities in Tamale have demanded the immediate release of 13 persons arrested by the police for allegedly attacking a court. Let's go live now to the area. Also hear from the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAG, on this rather unfortunate incident. Now, traditional authorities there in Tamale have been talking, condemning the use of live ammunition to disperse a crowd following a misunderstanding between the police and the youth in the area. They're demanding the immediate release of the 13 persons arrested yesterday and the motorbikes that have been seized. They were briefing the media earlier today. Take a look.
The police besieged the Bukonas Palace using water cannons and live ammunition, firing into the palace. Actually, personally, that annoyed me and angered me so much because it is the palace that is our place of refuge. If you are being chased by anybody, you run to the palace, then you are safe. But for the police to come and attack the Bukonas Palace is something that we didn't understand. We requested that the 13 people who were arrested and placed in custody should be immediately and unconditionally released from captivity. Their motorbikes released to them, whilst we see the way forward. And the police told us that one of their side weapons and they walked, I don't know what type of what was it.
Alhaji Abdul Latif Sahana, their spokesperson for the traditional authorities in that area, raising concerns about what happened yesterday. Abdullah Yakubu is General Secretary of the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana. My colleague, also a Northern Regional Correspondent, Christopher Marco, is joining us. Gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Chris, what's the situation after the call by the traditional authorities? Have there been any response to the demand they are making? Hello, Chris? Can you unmute for me, Chris? While Chris unmutes, Abdullah Yakubu, first off, this is what the chiefs are saying, but then you have issued a statement as well, making a number of demands. What are those?
Thank you very much for having me, and thanks to your listeners. The news of the invasion of the district court yesterday came to us as a shock, because the Tamale that we know, it is something that we least expected from a highly developed place like Tamale. So we received the news about the invasion of the court yesterday and the reasons that were assigned to the invasion of the court. We found same to be very much unfortunate, and we condemn in no uncertain terms the violent attack on the judiciary, because the judiciary is defined by the court based on Article 126 of the Constitution. So when you attack the court, you are attacking the judiciary and the entire justice administration in the country.
I'm sure you've heard the demands by the traditional leaders, the chiefs we just played there. They're saying that these 13 suspects who have been picked up by the police should be released because the police use live ammunition which angered the youth there. But what would JUSAC do about this particular demand that the chiefs are making, which you are also commending the police for because they saved the lives of your staff there, plus property?
The 13 people who have been arrested were picked up in connection with the event. We understand live ammunitions were fired. A police officer was injured in the process. Some other innocent people were also injured through the gunshots that were fired there. All these innocent people are going through what they are going through because of the action of the youth there. It is not for any individual to take the law into his or her own hands to want to force justice to be administered in the way that he wanted. We respect the call by the chiefs, all right. However, it is our respectful view that the chiefs and the opinion leaders of Tamale ought to support the judiciary so that we administer justice in accordance with the law and in the general interest of the Ghanaian people, and not based on what a section of Ghanaians will want to be done. So it is our respectful plea that the chiefs should allow justice to take its own course. They should support the judiciary. In fact, had it not been for the intervention of the police, it is likely that staff of the courts, the magistrates, and other people who were gathered there to hear their cases would have suffered various degrees of injuries, or lives would have been lost. So the police were compelled to do what they did in order to salvage the situation. I think the call for the people to be relieved, we don't find that to be in order. We plead with the chiefs to consider their view and allow justice to travel its course.
I see.
If in the course of the investigation of the police, they realize that some of the 13 people are innocent of offenses that may be, charges that may be brought against them, the police can decide to free them. However, anybody who is culpable in what happened yesterday, it has tarnished the image of Tamale as a metropolis and as a traditional, the capital of the northern region.
Okay.
And we feel that should not have happened.
Right.
If we allow the 13 people to go, then we are giving the green lights to people who want to take the law into their own hands.
Anyway.
So we plead that the chiefs should reconsider their decision.
Right. Chris, if you can hear me now, I was asking about after the demands by the chief, has there been any reaction from the police? Unfortunately, Christopher's connection is not favorable tonight. But Abdullah, let me end up with you. In times like that, what support are you expecting from the various opinion leaders in this particular area as a result of this incident? Finally.
We clearly stated in our report, we feel this is the time that the religious leadership, the political leadership, as well as the traditional authority will need to support the judiciary, because the issue they are dealing about is about the drug menace. If we allow that in the hands of only religious leaders, we cannot defeat their fight against drug abuse in their country. So they need the courts to prosecute persons who are engaged in drug abuse in their country, especially those who sell the narcotics. So if they happen to be against the courts and they are also seeking to use the same courts to have those matters addressed, definitely it will simply not work.
Right.
So this is the time that we need them the most.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Abdul Yakobo is the General Secretary of the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana. There's been a number of incidents preceding this one yesterday. Take a look at this. And this is just to chronicle in time past what's happened. August 2017, a police clash with a youth at Moshizongo, a suburb of Tamale, following an eviction order by a court which the youth resisted. And then also there was, in September 2021, the youth of Tamale attacked the NEDCO office and Lameshugu police station after police allegedly assaulted over a power theft. And then in 2022, February, the clash between the police and the youth of Lameshugu, which claimed 2 lives, leaving 7 injured. The disturbance was reported to have erupted when a young man who was being pursued also ran to the palace there. So there's been a number of instances in this nature, which is raising some fundamental concerns there. But this is something we're keeping a close eye on, and we'll see how things play out. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. Join us same time tomorrow. On behalf of the rest of the team, we appreciate your company. I am Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity, mild violence, and strong language. Parental guidance is